Yo, what's up guys, Wacky Anime back again with another video. And today we'll be doing what if Deku was the reincarnation of Arnos Voldigoad from the Demon King of Mischievous Academy. So this starts off, in the current anime where Arnos Voldigoad is. So he foresees his future death, but he doesn't know how he does. So he decides to reincarnate himself, but this actually doesn't end up like the first time he got reincarnated. This actually changes himself, and he end up being sent into a different human's body. A few thousand of future, years in the future, he gets sent into the body of a boy called Midoriya, after being born. So it's for Arnos to actually, he pretty much doesn't have any memory, but Midoriya has to get a trigger of events to actually get Arnos' memory. Pretty much like spoilers for God of High School. Pretty much like way he earns different memories. Well, since he's the reincarnation of Sun Wukong, pretty much like that. So so the anime starts with the same. Midoriya ends up being quirkless, but this actually triggers an event of Arnold Voldigoad because he gets really emotional, I would say, and this triggers a memory of Arnold's where he pretty much you being able to use incredibly superhuman strength. So Midoriya is confused at this. He was like, "Was that me?" But he doesn't know the voice. The dream was pretty much him carrying an entire castle. So Midoriya was like confused. He must have think that it was just his imagination of his dream going wild. Then, as Midoriya is heading to school, he's about to get hit by a car. And with pure instinct, Midoriya is able to stop that car, and that car just gets launched away. So Midoriya is frightened of this. He thinks to himself that, wait, he doesn't have a quirk, so how is he able to do this? A pro hero appears, and he's confused at the sight that what just happened. A kid who is incredibly young just pushed away a car with his bare hands, and his mom who was right behind him, is pretty shocked at this. So she goes back to the doctor. He says he still doesn't have a quirk, but Midoriya is thinking that this is just a fluke in the system. I say system, but it's just a fluke in his life. So he's just thinking that something probably just happened. Maybe the car was at fault. But that's not. We already know that he has some strange powers. So Midoriya doesn't get along with Bakugo normal in the anime, but he can't activate his strength on will or his powers at will. It kind of takes an event to happen which allows him to use this power, and he can slowly master it. And he was after getting bullied by Bakugo, he pretty much is able to use his super strength. This makes Bakugo pretty angry at Midoriya at his strength, because Bakugo can barely even move a large rock, and Midoriya could just use it with his one arm. And in the anime, Arnos actually, after getting reincarnated, can't use a certain percent of his original power. But because this is not his actual body, I'm going to make it as he can use almost every amount of his. It's like he could go 100% and be unstoppable. So Midoriya is actually able, because of the bullying Bakugo did to him, Midoriya is actually able to control the strength, and soon enough he could like punch a rock and break it in pieces. But the doctors still say he doesn't have a quirk, so everyone is thinking that he's the first ever quirkless kind of person with superhuman strength. So it pretty much goes the same. Bakugo does have some respect for Midoriya for his strength. So l- later in the future, Midoriya is deciding to after Bakugo just throws his hero notes into a tub, Midoriya decides to go home. There, a sludge-looking villain comes out of the sewer and, like Cannon, surrounds Midoriya, trying to take over his body. So this time, due to this, Midoriya triggers an event of his memory for close to death, and this pretty much shows him pretty much Arnold's blowing some. Well, I would say blowing someone with away with his breath, I would say. So Midoriya breathes in and uses the breath of his wind, and the sludge villain gets launched away. And now the sludge villain is like pretty much shocked at Midoriya's power. So he goes back, and Midoriya is also confused. So he tries blowing again, and the sludge villain gets launched into a wall. And out of nowhere, All Might just appears from the sewers, and Midoriya is shocked at this. And All Might takes and smashes the sludge villain, and he pretty much puts it in a bottle that Midoriya just gave him. All Might thanks Midoriya for actually pinning down the sludge villain and praises him, and he says, "Hey, what's your quirk, kid?" And he says, "To be honest, I don't really have a quirk. Well, that's what the doctors say, but a lot of people call me the first ever quirkless person with a quirk or something like that." And this actually shocks All Might, and he thinks that he's probably has something like one for all, something similar to one for all. And All Might is like so confused with this, and yeah, so All Might leaves, but this time Midoriya knows he has power to become a hero, and Midoriya is pretty much shocked at what his abilities he could really do, and yeah, Midoriya is thinking to himself, "I can blow someone away really hard, and not in a bad way." Um, the the yeah. I stuttered because I really made a dirty joke. Ignore that joke. Ignore that. Uh, nobody needs to hear that. But anyways, the 10 months pass, and Midoriya is really hardworking. And at one point, he does go to the beach, and he sees Bakugo. And he's confused why Bakugo is there, and he sees All Might. Midoriya watches all from a distance as All Might seems to be mentoring Bakugo, and this actually pisses off Deku. He's like, "Why the hell is Bakugo with All Might?" And one last thing, Midoriya doesn't have his timid personality, as in a canon. He's pretty much like Arnold, where he's like just doesn't really care. He knows he can take out anyone. And this pisses off Midoriya. He's like, "Why is Bakugo with All Might?" So Midoriya watches for like a few days, and he just gives up. And the 10 months pass, and it's time for the UA entrance exam. As Midoriya is walking, he trips over, and he was originally going to stop himself, but he ends up getting just floating in the air, and he turns around to see a girl who stopped him, and the girl introduces herself, but Midoriya does forget her name, and Midoriya introduces himself, and yeah, so it's pretty much the same as in canon, and every practical exam is the same, and for the robot disorienting exam, I don't know what to call it, I forget it. It's pretty different. This time Midoriya is actually scoring some points by punching a few of the robots, and So he's getting solid points, and everyone's shocked at Midoriya's strength, and they're thinking that it's his quirk. And All Might, who's also watching, is like, I underestimated this guy. And Bakugo, well, it's pretty much the same as Bakugo, but a bit different. You'll see why later in the series. And so we go to the 0-point robot, and the 0-point robot appears, and everyone's running away except for Midoriya, who isn't scared at all. And Midoriya is getting ready to jump and punch it, and he doesn't see Uraraka this time, but he just is already at the robot. But this time, when he punches it, it seems to not be doing anything. So he's pretty confused with this, and this is when he does see Uraraka below him, and this 0-point robot is literally about to crush her when all of a sudden this green flame appears through Midoriya's hand, and his body moves by itself, and he fires it right through the 0-point robot's head, and just practically destroying it. But yeah, so pretty much the same. Few weeks pass by. Midoriya is first. He gets congratulated by All Might in the message, hologram message, and Midoriya is pretty well. He's like, well, I already knew I was gonna be in UA, anyways. So Midoriya goes to UA the next day, and everyone looks at Midoriya and he's like, that's the guy that got first place in the exam, and everyone is like just wowed at Midoriya. So yeah, and Bakugo is really pissed at Midoriya, but also good for and Bakugo is actually sick at it, and he's like, damn it, Midoriya. Midoriya doesn't get the name Deku, so by this time I'm just gonna be calling him Midoriya. Damn it, Midoriya, how dare you beat me? So Bakugo's pretty pissed at Midoriya, and Midoriya's also pissed at Bakugo for just yelling at him for no reason. So, yeah. Ida appears, and he has the conversation with Midoriya, where he underestimated Midoriya, and Uraraka appears, conversation happens the same, and Midoriya he was like, who are you again? And this actually pisses Uraraka off, and she gets angry, and as she's getting angry, Aizawa does appear in canon normally because he's Aizawa, and he pretty much says to get on your uniform and go to the sports field, and everyone does, and everyone in the changing room, everyone sees that Midoriya is jacked, but this doesn't surprise Bakugo because he actually has seen Midoriya's physique, and Midoriya is really jacked, and this actually makes Kirishima think that Midoriya must be really manly, and he was like, hey Midoriya, is that your name, right? You got some scars and all over your body, you must be really trained hard, and he was like, I kind of forced myself to get strong, and Bakugo was like, that's a lie, he just got strong by luck. And the physical test, Midoriya obviously comes first, and yeah, Bakugo and Midoriya kind of have a rivalry, but Bakugo still isn't friends with Midoriya because of this rivalry. He pretty like Goku and Vegeta practically. But anyways, I'm gonna leave this what if here, and hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, leave comment sections if you want me to do any one of your what ifs. I'm only been doing this like a few times, so if you guys want me to do a what if of yours, the most liked one is what I'll be doing. So yeah, anyways,